Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jai Vishnupad Padmahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtota Dashtata Shri Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Padmahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtota Dashtata Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Nantakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Ki Jai Venkateswara Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai Bhakti Dev Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Ganga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, entitled Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 7, the sacrifice performed by Daksha. We're on text 51. Is it? Atmamayam samavishya Soham gunamayim dvija Srijan rakshan haran vishvam Tadre samgyam kirochitam Atmamayam samavishya Soham gunamayim dvija Srijan rakshan haran vishvam Tadre sangyam kirochitam Atmamayam samavishya Soham gunamayim dvija Srijan rakshan haran vishvam Tatre sangyam kirochitam
Atmamayam samavishya Soham gunamayim dvija Srijan rakshan haran vishvam Tatre sangyam kirochitam Atmamayam samavishya Soham gunamayim dvija Srijan rakshan haran vishvam Tadre sangyam kirochitam
Okay, word by word. Translation. Atmamayam, my energy. Samavishya, having entered. Saha, myself. Aham, I. Gunamayim, composed of the modes of material nature. Dvija, O twice-born Daksha. Srijan, creating. Rakshan, maintaining. Haran, annihilating. Vishwam, the cosmic manifestation. Dadre, I caused to be born. Samyam, a name. Kriya uchitam, according to the activity. Translation. The Lord continued, My dear Daksha, Dvija, I am the original personality of Godhead, but in order to create, maintain, and annihilate this cosmic manifestation, I act through my material energy, and according to the different grades of activity, my representations are differently named. Purport. As explained in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 5, Jiva Bhutam Mahabaho, the whole world is energy released from the Supreme Source, the personality of Godhead, who, it is further stated in Bhagavad Gita, acts in superior energies and inferior energies. The superior energy is the living entity, who is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. As parts and parcels, the living entities are not different from the Supreme Lord. The energy emanated from Him is not different from Him. But in the actual activity of this material world, the living entity is under the different qualities of material energy and in different forms. There are 8,400,000 life forms. The same living entity acts under the influence of the different qualities of material nature. The entities have different bodies, but originally, in the beginning of creation, Lord Vishnu is alone. For the purpose of creation, Brahma is manifested, and for annihilation there is Lord Shiva. As far as the spiritual entrance into the material world is concerned, all beings are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, but under the covering of different material qualities, they have different names. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are qualitative incarnations of Vishnu as guna avatars. And Vishnu with them accepts control of the quality of goodness. Therefore, he is also a qualitative incarnation like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Actually, the different names exist for different directions. Otherwise, the origin is one only. So I'll just read a little. Next one. Tasmin Brahmanya Vitti Ye Kevale Paramatmani Brahma Rudra Chabhutani Vedanagyo Nupashyati. The Lord continued, one who is not in proper knowledge thinks that demigods like Brahma and Shiva are independent, or he even thinks that the living entities are independent. Purport. The living entities, including Brahma, are not independently separated, but are counted within the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord, being the Supersoul in every living entity, including Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, is directing everyone in activities of the material modes of nature. No one could act independently of the sanction of the Lord. And therefore, indirectly, no one is different from the Supreme Person, certainly not Brahma and Rudra, who are incarnations of the material nature's modes of passion and ignorance. A lot of the times people may not think that the Supersoul is in Lord Brahma's heart or Lord Shiva. I don't think about that so much, but that's what it says here, Prabhu. So I'll just read one more. Yata pumana swangeshu shirapan adishu kvachit parakya buddham kurute evam bhuteshu matparaha. A person with average intelligence does not think the head and other parts of the body to be separate. Similarly, my devotee does not differentiate Vishnu, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, from any thing or any living entity. Which one? The whole verse? Or the second part of the verse? Similarly, my devotee does not differentiate Vishnu, the all-pervading personality of Godhead from anything or any living entity. Purport. Sounds like Maiva. Whenever there is a disease in any part of the body, the whole body takes care of the ailing part. Similarly, a devotee's oneness is manifested in his compassion for all conditioned souls. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, text 18 says, Pandita Samadarshana. Those who are learned see everyone's conditional life equally. Devotees are compassionate to every conditioned soul, and therefore they are known as Viparakya Buddhi. Because devotees are learned and know that every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, they preach Krishna consciousness to everyone so that everyone may be happy. If a particular part of the body is diseased, the whole attention of the body goes to that part. Similarly, devotees care for any person who is forgetful of Krishna, and therefore in material consciousness. The equal vision of the devotee is that he works to get all living entities back home, back to Godhead. Om Jnanativedandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chukshulan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karidvachalam Pangam Mangaite Ginim Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Diditaranam Vancha Kapvidubhishcha Kripasinubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So people's different desires and attractions are based on what they've been cultivated for a very, very long time. So within this life, the different individuals in this world, they have so many desires, but those desires are not something that's just, sprouted up, in this particular lifetime. Means that what we've been cultivating for many lifetimes is a result of where we are now. So therefore people may be challenged with certain, you could say, conditioning, but we should understand that that's been going on for a very long time. And the whole idea behind the Vedic literature is to elevate one to at least the mode of goodness. So it's very practical. We could see if we're in goodness or not, or what mode we're being influenced by. Why? Because certain things will just bother us or annoy us, and certain things we'll be attracted to. For example, if we're attracted to certain music that is in the lower modes, like whatever, heavy metal or something, then that means we're being influenced by lower modes. If we are attracted by particular food or particular people or particular lifestyle, that means we're influenced. Specifically, I'm talking about lower modes. We're influenced by those lower modes. If somebody likes to drive, 130 miles down the highway, if they could, listening to rock and roll, then we could say that they're influenced by mode of passion. That's very clear. So we always have to be careful we always have to be careful who and what we subject our consciousness to, because it just, good, bad, ugly, transcendental, it will remain in our consciousness for a very long time. That's the interesting thing about the mind and the consciousness, and it just stays there. I mean, I remember good, bad stuff from when I was a little kid. It's still there. Even if I want to forget it, I don't forget it. So that's the idea, that we want to fill our consciousness up as much as possible with Krishna, with the idea that will create Krishna impressions within our mind, rather than Mayic impressions. You got Mayic impressions, you got Krishna impressions that sit within the mind. So we have Mayic impressions from this life, lower modes, activities, and etc., right? And then from last life, many lives. They're all in there. So we want to fill our mind with Krishna impressions, so that instead of remembering Maya, remember Krishna. That's the whole point. So we have to create the impressions within our mind of Krishna. In this way we will rise to goodness and rise to Krishna consciousness. And people who are foolish, they think, okay, I'm independent. I could do whatever I want. Of course, within reason. If you try to do absolutely whatever you want, you may go to jail. I mean, depending on if you have such crazy desires, you may go to jail. But again, we have to be careful who we and what we associate with, because it could really just, I was talking to this fellow yesterday, and anyways, he's one of the loungers, and he was just completely spooked out. Means he thought that people were after him, people are watching him, and I doubt it, because unless you're a very, you could say, dangerous person, usually people aren't after you. They don't care about you. If you have a lot of money, they may be after you, which he didn't have. If you had a lot of fame, they'll be after you, which he didn't have. And those are the main things these days. That's like the bar, right? If you're famous for anything, whether it be crazy or foolish or whatever it is, then people are interested in you. Or if you're rich, right? Yeah, just people, government people trying to control him, and paranoid, extremely paranoid. Well, that's what a lot of intoxication does to you. Actually, it makes you paranoid. All different forms of intoxication, practically speaking, makes you freaked out. Like you hear a car go by, and just all the sounds are amplified. That's what happens actually when you take hallucinogenics. That everything becomes amplified. Very loud. The car going by, and just somebody snaps, and it's just like everything's very intense. So yeah, he in this way is really paranoid. And yeah, there may be people out there who want to put you into hypnosis and control your mind and plant all types of horrible desires within your consciousness. Yeah, sure, there's demonic people out there, but they're there if you subject yourself to them. On purpose or on accident, they're there, and you will be influenced if you subject yourself to them. So that was what I was thinking in my mind. I was saying, okay, you're scared of people influencing you. Well, just don't take their association. Yeah, chant Hare Krishna. If you're spooked out that whatever through your phone, they're going to listen to what you're saying, then get rid of your phone. Get rid of your computer. But he had attachment to his phone, his computer, so he couldn't do that. So, but even so, if you're so paranoid on that level, then get rid of it. Okay, you can't get rid of it. Then he had this whole device where he unplugs the battery, like he somehow or other unplugs the battery from his tablet, so they can't listen and trace and all that to him. So, okay, that's a very extreme level of paranoia. But some people say, oh, I don't want to be influenced by people, and they're still freaked out about it. Okay, like again, don't take their association. Just don't hang out with them. Don't associate with them in so many ways. Social media, this and that. So And yeah, it was actually shocking. I was thinking to myself, wow, this is the power of the mind. And practically speaking, anybody, practically speaking, almost anybody could reach that state he was in and worse, where you're talking to yourself very crazily, and thinking the plants are talking, and people are after you, and that's just one angle of vision or variety of craziness, madness. And that's the mind. It could just really, you don't get enough sleep, you let your body become too dirty, you take intoxication, you hang out with some weird people, and then, before you know it, you're just mental as all, horrible. So that's the power. And then people think, oh, I'm independent. I'm very powerful. No, you're not powerful. No, you're not independent. And if you're not careful, you're going to be in trouble. So this is what Vishnu, Narayan, he's saying that one who is not in proper knowledge thinks that demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are independent, or even thinks that the living entities are independent. So Rudra, Brahma, none of them are independent. And they're all dependent on Krishna and so many things. And Shiva, there's examples of Shiva and Brahma becoming bewildered by the illusory Maya within the Bhagavatam. And Krishna doesn't get bewildered. So that's the idea that as Kali Yuga progresses, yes, there is a lot of good happening, right? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's here, and Lord Nityananda, and right, all the devotees, the preaching, very wonderful time. And people need it now more than ever because with the what do you call not the descent of with the descent of technology or the whatever, people actually need it more than ever. How fast technology is, the social media, and the millions of movies, entertainment movies, and music, and everything's just so fast. I could call somebody right now in India, and talk with them. That's just, or I could send them messages or pictures or whatever. It's just everything's just so fast. And then people, the intelligent, what did Prabhu say? The lazy intelligent, active intelligent. No, lazy intelligent, active intelligent. Yeah, but there's also the what is it? What does Prabhupada say? Lazy intelligent, yeah. But I'm talking about the bad ones. Yeah, foolish, active intelligence. So somebody, the active fool, the intelligent active fool. So he's intelligent materially, but he's a fool. So he uses his intelligence for horrible things. That's a problem. And you have a lot of people like that. They're intelligent, and if they apply their intelligence to something good, they'll actually do some good for the world. But they're intelligent, and they apply their intelligence to something bad. And then they create all these, whatever it may be, that will just destroy people's consciousness. Their consciousness, and what to speak of their spiritual consciousness, just their consciousness in general. So yeah, it's a time which, there's like a war, you could say, going on between it's always been a war, Prabhupada says that, between the asuras and the suras, the demoniac, or the demons, Prabhupada would say, and the devotees, the demigods. There's that war going on. So we want to be a part of the demigod side, or the sura side, and try to help somehow the people, which, again, as time goes on, they'll need more and more and more help. Because that's just how it's manifesting. That's how it's going to have to be. So therefore, in order to help people who are who really need help, a person has to, right, they have that saying, God helps those who help themselves, right? Prabhupada quote that in Bhagavad Gita. And similarly, we can't just help others, we also have to help ourselves. Of course, we take time out, we talk with people, we try to encourage them. We may spend hours with people, talking with them, this and that. Usually talking, because people have questions or advice, they need advice or this and that. So we may spend hours doing that. And but also we need to spend hours with Krishna directly in the form of His holy name, and other spiritually uplifting activities. Because if we just keep on cutting, okay, I accept this service, I accept that service, I talk with this person, I talk with that person, I help this person, I help that person, and then where's the time for our own spiritual advancement, like directly? So we have to, that's one, on one hand, there's that. So we can't help people so much where ourselves we suffer. And similarly, we can't help ourselves so much that we don't make any time for anybody else. We have to make time for other people too. So we're so busy, okay, this, that, I have to do this, I have to do that, but then there's other people that we don't help that we could. And really it says that one who is, the Chaitanya Charitamrita says that one who is empowered, they can help people. And they become empowered by Krishna directly and the spiritual master. So how do we become empowered by Krishna directly? We do that by taking association of Krishna in the form of His holy name. So Krishna empowers us in the form of His holy name. Right? Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi. That one who is empowered by Krishna, he could or she could spread Krishna consciousness far and wide. So we want to become empowered, and in order to become empowered we have to surrender. So we can't just chant, but we have to chant and surrender to the chanting. Because there's chanting and then there's surrendering to the chanting. They're two different things. Like for example, people, they come here all the time and they chant, but what's on their mind? What are they chanting for? Right? Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare. Right? They say, give me a house and car, house and big car and big TV screen by the sea. Jaya Jagadisha. Right? And whatever, that's, sometimes Indians may do that, but, or devotees, whoever, you know. What's on their mind, what are they praying for, what do they want, why are they chanting, right? So there was this case of a person, his name was Ram Das, and he chanted all the time, in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He was chanting constantly. He was following this instruction, maybe more so than a lot of devotees do. Trinadapi Suni Trinatodapi Sishna Amanina Amana Kirtaniya Sada Hari. He was always chanting Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Sada, always Hari, chanting, right? Kirtan, always chanting Kirtan. So then he was traveling. Specifically, he was chanting the name of Ram, Lord Ram, right? So then he was traveling and he met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't give him the time of the day at all. He just practically in so many ways ignored him. And it's explained that the reason he ignored him because this person, he was chanting Lord Ram's name with the idea of becoming one with Ram. He was a Mayavadi. So he's trying to, just become God pretty much by chanting. So then Lord Chaitanya said, okay, I don't want anything to do with you. So people come here, people come to the temple or to the lounge, and yes, they chant. That's true, they chant. And that's good. It's good that they chant. but they may be chanting, okay, this is just nice. It's nice music, Man, that's really, Zach's really hitting that drum nice. Like, I'm really getting into this. Or whatever, so-and-so, whatever, they have a really good voice or something. Oh, it's really getting into this. And it's like an entertainment thing, okay, yeah. Or this really makes me peaceful. Like, this really, I'm just really experiencing peace here. I come to the lounge and I'm I feel so much peace by chanting, which is good. It's good. It's okay, fine. You like the music part of the kirtan, great. You like the peace, okay, great. But the whole idea is that after, over time, one is supposed to progress to that. Okay, I am singing. I am engaging in kirtan for Krishna's pleasure, to connect with Krishna, to reestablish my loving relationship with Krishna, so I could become Krishna conscious, so I could go back to Godhead to please Krishna, right? So it's more of a Krishna-focused chant, right? Rather than a individual-focused chant. It means about the individual. So yes, everybody chants. Some people chant, but we have to chant and surrender in the right mood. And that chanting and surrender in the right mood, that is taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshashtaka, his 8 verses. Which Triveda Prabhu put a nice English poetry for the English-speaking world. All glories to the chanting of Shri Krishna's holy name, which easily extinguishes samsara's blazing flames by polishing the lust-encrusted mirror of the heart. That chanting is the waxing moon that knows the secret art of causing the white lotus of good fortune to unfurl its petals far and wide throughout this bleak and blighted world. Of transcendental knowledge it will take us to life's goal. The chanting of Shri Krishna's holy name is the holy name is the life and soul. Indeed, whenever Krishna's name is sung in congregation, at every step one tastes a joy that knows no limitation. So here with great attention as I earnestly request, please chant Shri Krishna's holy name and be supremely blessed. Bathe your consciousness, bestow pure love for Krishna and eradicate distress. Yeah. So it goes on like that. It goes on like that. And in that whole Shikshashtaka, it's teaching how to, what is the mood, what's supposed to be in chanting. And it says that anyone who hears, right, anyone who hears or chants this, but, right? Yeah. Verses Lord Chaitanya wrote to teach the practice and the goal of chanting Krishna's holy name. Day by day, whoever this hymn will reach a little closer to perfection, spotless Krishna Prem. So, for anyone who sings this, they'll get closer to love for Krishna if they sing it every day. So, yeah, it's from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So if somebody reads that, then they'll get closer. So that's a hint. That's a tip for getting closer to the goal. And it also teaches us how to be in the proper mood. So if we do that, if we surrender and chant sincerely in the proper way, then we'll become empowered and we'll be able to help people more. And of course there's degrees of empowerment. It's not that one day you wake up and you walk down and you're glowing or something. Oh man, this guy's really empowered. Or this lady's really empowered, and people start falling down and, oh, please give me instruction. Great, great devotee. Maybe that will happen, but usually it's degrees. It's degrees. You become a little bit more empowered, right? And then a little bit more empowered, and then a little bit more empowered, like that. And you surrender a little bit more, and then until it's full force, right? So yeah, and then the heart's purified. One can understand people's suffering. One could try to help get people back to Krishna consciousness. So does anyone have any questions or comments? Oh, Vaishnava, you came out early, huh? Are they done in there? Okay, you came out early. Oh, okay.
So when the people that come to the lounge, they come because they're just invited and they come a couple times. When is it appropriate for somebody to like then give them a little bit more? Because I know that the topics that are at the lounge are pretty light.
That's true.
So that way you don't scare everybody away who's just coming.
Don't freak everybody out.
Yeah.
Spook them out.
I guess.
So now we're gonna have a talk about the the glories of the fifth canto.
Right. So, because there's lots of people that I talk to, and they're different degrees of interest or whatever. It's just, when do you feel would be appropriate to like reach more?
Yeah, it's hard to say, because like if somebody's hungry, then they're going to seek out food. So similarly, if somebody's spiritually hungry, which you could say a characteristic of that is that they want to know. That's one characteristic. They want to know. They have questions. Then they'll seek somebody out to answer their questions, and that's how a lot of that spiritual hunger is detected. If somebody has questions, if somebody's just kind of like no questions, that's a lot of the times indication that they may not be so spiritually hungry. So if somebody comes up to you and has all these questions, then that's a indication. Okay, let me tell them. So that's how a lot of the times at the lounge, if somebody has questions, and they could come to me, and then I'll try to answer. But a lot of it has to do also with getting people to chant on beads. If you could get them to chant on beads and read Prabhupada's books. So I give people Prabhupada's books, and I also have been giving beads lately, encouraging people to chant. And then if they chant, then they will get more purified and become more interested in Krishna and have more questions and just be interested in Krishna consciousness more in general. So, like there's these two devotees that go to the lounge, a couple there, Lauren and Bobby. And so I asked them, I said, because I see them with their beads, their hand in their bead bag sometimes, and I said, so did you two have like a set number of rounds you chant every day? And then they said, oh no, sometimes we chant 4, or sometimes she says she chants 4, he says he chants 8. It's just all over the board, sometimes none. I said, all right, well, it's really good if you make a vow and you keep it. You have a set number that you chant every day, and that you don't go under that number. So I said, oh yeah. So I said, so what do you two think about it? You think you could do that? I was just kind of pushing them. This is like a few weeks ago. And then they said, oh yeah. I said, how many do you think you could do? And then he said he could do 4. And I said, okay. And she said she could do like, I don't know, she said 2 or something, or 3. So then I said, okay, all right, great. So now you could go into the temple room and you go before Prabhupada, and you could vow before Prabhupada that you're going to chant. And then they kind of looked at me. Their face was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. That's like really serious, and they're kind of shocked. And then I had to convince them more. I said, well, if I could do it, I mean, you could do it too. I mean, I'm not, who am I? I mean, if I could do it, you could do it. And I said, and I told him that's what I did. I first chanted 2 rounds, and then 4 rounds, and then 6 rounds. Tirtha Maharaj that's where I learned that from, because he told me, oh, you should go before Prabhupada and vow the deities. So then I told them that, and then they said, okay. So then they went in the temple room. I didn't go with them. They went in the temple room, and they went before Prabhupada, and they vowed that they'd chant 4 rounds and 3 rounds. She'd do 3 rounds, he'd do 4 rounds. And she told me the other day, she said, oh yeah, I actually want to do 4 rounds now. So So yeah, they said they vowed, and then they came back into the Krishna lounge, and I said, "Oh wow, you're looking brighter already," because they did, they kind of looked like. So yeah, they said and then they vowed, and they said they'll do it, and like apparently they're doing it. So like getting people to like make commitments. So, but that just kind of came into my mind. I saw them with their bead bag, and I was wondering, okay, maybe they should. And Yudhishthira would do that too at the Bhakti Chakras. He would always get people to, he would say, "Oh, so how many rounds are you chanting?" And then they go, "Oh, I'm chanting 2 rounds." And they go, "Oh, you think you could do it 3? You could bump it to 3?" And they go, oh, I don't know. And then he said, "Yeah, you could do it." And then they say, "Okay, I'll do it." And then Yudhishthira used to go like this. "Okay, here's a sacred knuckle punch," And then he'd go like this, and they say, "Okay." So in this way, people would chant more rounds. So it really depends, But get them to chant, books, questions.
Like, I've given books to, and I follow up on it to see where they're at, and a lot of times I run into, I know it now, and like,
Oh,
I'm
really?
okay, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they'll actually like quote stuff too, so I know that they actually read it, but
Well, that's good.
yeah, just curious.
Well, it's like seeds, you plant seeds and some of them sprout. So, sometimes it takes time for people to kind of come around. Like there was this woman at the lounge, and she said, I asked her, I said, "Oh, how did you hear about the lounge?" And she said, "Oh yeah, you guys used to go out to downtown quite a lot, and I would see you guys out on the street, chanting." And she worked at the bar as a waitress or whatever. And she didn't tell me, bartender, waitress. And she said, "Yeah, I would, look out at you guys, and I'd think, oh man, these guys are a bunch of fools, These guys have no idea what they're doing, with their lives. They're just wasting their lives, In essence, that's what she was saying. Like, look at these jokesters, like what do they do, clowns or whatever, So that's what she was saying. She told me. I said, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." But she was there at the lounge. So then I said, "Okay, but you're here now, so like what happened?" And then she said, "Well, I got out of the bar scene, and I started like doing yoga and meditating and stuff like that, and then she said that chant just stayed in my head, the Hare Krishna chant, because you guys would chant every Friday. It just stayed in my head." I said, "Oh, really?" She said, "Yeah." So it stayed in my head, and then she said, "Oh, I just looked it up one day, I looked up Hare Krishna," and then that's how she came to the Krishna. She brought her friend too. That was so yeah. Sometimes it takes time for it to, All right, Joy. So tomorrow's Prabhupada's disappearance. It's a half-day fast. At noontime? Yeah, it's scheduled to happen at 5 p.m. Yeah. Okay. And the idea was you would give the class tomorrow? For Prabhupada? Yeah. Okay. And then Nectar of Instruction will be Monday, and then Tuesday will be Dharma Setu Prabhu, and Tuesday will be this verse here, 54. So the next 2 days there's no Bhagavatam. All right. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.